Today's lesson is for an abstract fall leaf design. So you're going to start gathering your supplies. You're going to need a pencil, a ruler, an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, so basically a piece of printer paper. And you're also going to need to go outside and take a little walk and find 3 to 4 fall leaves. So when I went to find my leaves, I wanted to make sure that I got different shapes and different sizes. So you can see I have a nice big leaf like this. I also have a little oak leaf like that. And then in addition, I got some different shapes, such as this maple leaf, and there's kind of like teardrop shape. So I tried to find leaves that were interesting to me and that were each slightly different from one another. Now, when we begin, we're going to start designing our composition. And a composition is simply how we arrange the different elements in the picture. So we have 3 or 4 leaves, and you get to decide how you arrange them on your paper. Mine's going to be one way. Yours will not be exactly like mine. So if I want to start composing or arranging my design, I could start putting some leaves on my paper and thinking about where they would look nice. Do I want to have them overlap a little bit? Do I want to have them at the bottom and one at the top? How can I arrange it so that each side is balanced? If they're all down here at the bottom, right, then you have a heavy place here and you have negative space there, which could be very interesting. Or you could space them out in a way that you find interesting and well designed. Now that you have your leaves and you've thought about a little bit how to design them, let's start with the first leaf. So put your leaf on your paper in a way that you think is interesting. You're going to be using a pencil to outline yours. I'm using a pen just to show it so that it shows up a little bit better and you can see it. So I'm going to take my first leaf, I'm going to lay it on my paper, and I'm going to begin to outline around the edge of the leaf. It's not going to be exact. I'm trying to get the basic shape of the leaf. And it's okay if there's some imperfections. I'm going to connect it so that the end is solid like that. So that's my first leaf. Now I'll take another leaf. And again, I want to think about how to arrange it so that it's composed well and it's balanced. I'll put this one in from the corner so the eye kind of is pulled upwards. And again, I'm going to take it, I'm going to use a pencil and trace around the edge of my leaf. Just like before, I want to make sure I have all the ends closed off like that. I have 2 more leaves now. I think this one will kind of, yeah, I like that. Go ahead and set it there. Now, if it's a little bit hard for you to trace, maybe have your brother or your sister come hold the leaf, or your mom or your dad, and then you can trace it while someone else is keeping it steady for you. And like I said before, it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. We're just trying to get the idea of the leaf shape and doing the best that we can. Make sure that you now have several of your leaves outlined on your paper. I actually have 1 more to do. You might just have 3. I'm going to go ahead and do 4 and do my last one up in this corner. So now that I'm just about done with my leaves, we're going to take a little pause and you're going to go ahead and finish up your 3 to 4 leaves on your paper. Once you have your leaves done, now it's time to pick up your ruler. If you don't have a ruler, use anything with a straight edge. So a piece of cardboard or a piece of paper, anything that's straight and you can use as a ruler. As I look at my composition, I want to think about where can I put some lines so that's interesting and is balanced with what I already have on there. So for me, I want to bring a line here. That'll bring the eye up. And there's kind of a lot of negative space there, so that will fill in some of that space that's not being used. I'm also going to bring one down this way. So just like before, we want to think about what we're adding to it and make sure that it's interesting and balanced as we add. All right, what else can I do? Maybe I'll cut across the bottom. I also want to make sure that I'm crossing over my leaves as I draw, so that I'm breaking leaves into sections with my lines. All right, that's nice. 3 lines, kind of broke that up nicely. Now, if you're younger, like if you're 4 or 5 or 6, that's great. You are ready to move on. If you want more of a challenge or a little bit older, here's the next step you can do. Go around your kitchen and find 2 round objects of different sizes. So I found this shape and I found this larger plate shape. So I'm going to take these and add some curved lines to my composition. So as I look, I see that I kind of want to add some more interest down here in the bottom corner. So I'm going to take one of my shapes. I'm just going to go right around it. So now I have straight and curved lines. I also want to add, I think, something to balance that out on the opposite corner. So I'll take this shape here and trace right around there. So now I have a composition of some leaves and an abstract design on top. It's abstract because it's just simplified shapes and lines, while the leaves are realistic. But my layer of abstract design is the lines that I did with the ruler. Now that you have your composition finished, it's time to add color. Today we're going to be talking about a way of categorizing color. If we look at a color wheel, we can see all the colors of the rainbow on this, plus some. We have the primary colors here, and then all the colors that can be made, made from them are between them. And we can actually even make more colors than that, and we'll talk about that in a later lesson. But right now we're going to look at the basic colors and talk about how we can categorize them into warm and cool colors. If we look at half of the color wheel between the red and the yellow, we see that these are all sunny colors, and we call this side of the color wheel the warm side. It's warm colors. On the opposite side, then, what do you think we have? We have the cool colors, more shady and more like water, nice and cool like that. That's how I kind of remember that. So today on our project, we're going to be doing some cool areas and some warm areas. And specifically, our leaves are only going to be in the warm colors. So I want you to look at your pencils or your crayons right now. I want you to find all the warm colors and set them aside. I have my warm colors right here. I have a red, an orange, a goldenrod, and a yellow. And these are all in the warm family. I'm going to be taking my warm colors and coloring in the different shapes of the leaves that I've drawn. As you can see, my leaves are cut into different sections because they overlap with one another, or they have lines crisscrossing them. So for example, I would do my dark red here, but I would do a different warm color in the section below it, and even a different warm color here in this section. So I'm going to go and do all my leaves in my warm colors, but I'm going to be changing colors once I get to any type of line. So you can see here on my example that I've done one leaf, and I've done that leaf in only warm colors, and each section of the leaf is a different warm color. Now go ahead and do all the leaves. So as you can see now, all of my leaves are done first, and I've only used the warm colors, things like red, orange, and yellow. After your leaves are all done, you're going to take your cool colors, those things like greens, purples, and blues, and you're going to do all the background shapes. And each shape that's been divided will be a different cool color. So for example, I could do this shape in this teal, but the shape next to it would be in blue, and the shape next to that one would be a different color. So find all your cool colors now and then begin to color in your background. So this is your final product. Your leaves are in warm colors and they stand out, and your background is in cool colors.